Good morning. How are you today? Well, it's nice out. It's early morning. I have to ride circuit today, go to court, and I'm looking forward to it. Although I'll be masked and at a distance and so forth, and sometimes that riles the others, but we'll deal with that. Last night I thought the president did himself proud, did us proud. I was not as enthusiastic about the large programs, and kind of in a way how they indirectly benefit everybody else. And the point, I guess, is that they mean jobs. But after addressing, if you will, big business and communities generally, he turned his attention to the individuals, to the people, and what they're concerned about, whether it be health or security or the ability to retire with dignity. And his most forceful moment, and there are telling moments, they're like magic moments that happen in life. I see them in trials, we see them in personal relationships, and it's when it sort of brings together a number of concerns at the same time, and it punches through. Now, people react differently. This is my reaction. Last night when we got to the question of preserving Social Security and Medicare, Biden took on the Republican right wing, which as he looked away from us toward his left and our right, how appropriate, he was looking at the Republicans and what they thought. And despite the instructions from McCarthy that the caucus get some sobriety, responsibility, be concerned about the message to the nation, which I think McCarthy did follow for himself. He had various Republicans led by no less than Congresswoman Green, who shouted liar while Biden was speaking. And I think that did several things. One, it underscored the depraved nature of the Republican dialogue, which was picked up, by the way, I think, when we had the comment after the State of the Union address from Arkansas. Boy, I hate that woman, and I do. I don't usually feel that way, even about people I disagree with, but I think she and Green are kind of represent an element of the Republican Party that compromises our democracy on every day. So we had that. The factor that I think helped them lose the seats they anticipated they'd get, still leaving them, the Republicans, in control of the House. Now, on the other side of that coin, there was Biden. And Biden didn't shirk his responsibility to lead. He kind of leaned into it. He pointed out that, well, if you're not against Social Security and you're not against Medicare and don't want to reduce it, fine, stand now for seniors. And many did. So he did a little bit of rhetorical and political jujitsu, stuck between the story they tell and the belief they hold. The Republicans jumped on instruction from our leader, from Biden. In that moment, and I don't mean magic in the sense of an act, I mean in the sense of catching you. You know, when we say things like charisma and so forth, we're saying something catches us, something really important is going on. And something really important was going on when Biden was ad-libbing. He was improvising. But he was improvising from a point in his belief system where he finds the ground of his political being. It's funny, when I ran for office in 1984 for Congress, I was using a consultant that was the same one that Biden was using. And I saw him a couple of times, no more than passing. It was a high fellow well-met kind of thing. He would wave and shake hands. He looked a lot younger, obviously. But he was a genuinely nice guy who just loved pressing the flesh and meeting people. And that has held him in good stead his entire political life. Because on the one hand, he's this fighter. On the other hand, he's this doer. And it's a great combination in American politics, particularly at a time when so few are doing so little. Yes, I have reservations about other aspects of it, but that was one magic moment when the President of the United States took charge of the entire Congress and everybody in that room and showed by contrast with Green that that's the kind of leader that we want and we need. And that's why presently, despite the problems and criticisms we may have of Biden, he's our man. That can change, and we'll have to pay attention. But he made a great case for himself and for his campaign just days away from announcing that he intends to run for office. The other moment, I thought, was when he stood before the body as the commander-in-chief, and he talked about how, why, just last week we showed China, or I'm not even sure he mentioned the name China. The significance of that is to say, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing in terms of our national defense, and I'm doing it. I've spent a lifetime figuring it out. I sat here, and if you want to make age an issue, then you got to make experience an issue too, and I have it. I have the kind of experience that can lead us in dangerous times. Implicitly meaning, sure, Trump can't. We've already seen what a mash he makes of things. And he also said, although it should be obvious that there are other ways to stop this, he said that, if you guys pass anything or try to put on my desk a bill that would reduce Social Security and Medicare, save your breath. I'll veto it. Now, it probably wouldn't get through the Senate anyhow, but it's good to say to the nation, we're laying down values, and these are those values. Now, some of the things that the president said, there were slight exaggerations as best I can tell. And I guess that's the puffery that is politics. But the most important magical moment was when a man who's criticized for his clarity of thinking proved that he can think very clearly. A man who is thought to be weak or unable to lead or fight showed that he can and did, extemporaneously, improvising, ad-libbing as he went along. This is what we need in America. And so, are we going to find the perfect person to be our president? I suppose not. But, there's this old saying in American politics about you don't change horses in midstream. And I think that's going to be true in the next election. And the Republicans are going to have to find an agenda rather than the hateful one they have and the disinformation they spread and the bad habits and bad form of people like Green and the failure of the Republican caucus to get rid of people like unsaintly our fellow from Long Island. I hate to say his name. He had a great argument last night that I think he lost. So there's more one could say about last night, and one could go into it in detail. But I think in terms of the punch of the evening that is tied to facts and performance, Biden showed himself to be the president that we need going forward. So here I am. I'm walking a different road this morning, and I'm going to get through this and head out and represent the abused and misunderstood in court. So I leave you on a trail without many trees nearby, and I'll talk to you again later today or tomorrow. Bye-bye.